Hey everyone, looks like we are live. I hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. We made it to yet another week. And so, weather's starting to get chilly. Fall is in the air or autumn's in the air. Let's see who we have today. Mr. Ryan Barkley, how are you, sir? Great to see you, my friend. All the way from Michigan. So, that is very cool. So we are going to work on some detail today, do some paintbrush technique, maybe a little colored pencil, because we can. We're working on paper. If we were working, let's say, on something hard or something like that, then you wouldn't be able to do it. My thing is, if you can do it, do it. And if it's going to make a better painting, definitely do that. So very, very important to be open-minded and free to do different things. So looks like it's 9:30 and I only see Ryan here. Uh, I don't know, it's been pretty slow lately, but it picks up towards the end, right? I guess people are not watching football. I don't know. So if you guys are out there, just say hello and I'll be glad to greet you and hear where you're from. So here we go. We are working on this painting of Persephone, which is really cool. Hey Mike, how are you? Great to see you, Mike Rushing. Mike, where exactly are you from? I do remember once before you told me. It takes a while before it gets in my mind. Hey Mr. Air Todd, how you doing? How is the pulling of the tooth? Sometimes it comes out so simple and sometimes like the dentist has to get on your chest. I know about extractions, unfortunately. So let me know how that went. Decatur, Georgia. Great state of Georgia. Always a pleasure to see you. And whenever I drove through Georgia, I used to live in Orlando for a while, and I would go back home to New Jersey, and we would always stop, get something to eat in Georgia. And the women had the cutest accents, and everybody was really sweet. So really loved Georgia. So great state, and proud, proud that you guys are Americans as well. So that's neat. So going back to this portrait, we are going to be uh, basically working on some detail now, since we did a lot of the leg work. Yes, sudden hospitality. That is so true there, Mike. Michael McClung, all the way from the Baltimore, Maryland area. How are you, sir? Great to see you. So glad you're here. And all us East Coasters, we're kind of counting our blessings as all those hurricanes go out to sea, huh? They could very well be pummeling us. So we are very fortunate so far. And so that's really good. Uh, oh, Air Todd says he's feeling good. He needs to go to church. He's holy. That's very funny, sir. That is hilarious. Yes. Hey, Mr. Color Graphics, Roy from New Jersey. How are you, sir? Great to see you. Roy and I are working on a portrait of Eddie Murphy together, and we're having a lot of fun. I'll show you how it's coming out. I do my version, my students does their version. So this is where we are right now. And it's just, like I said, just having a lot of fun. And you can see this is on paper with the shellac. And so basically we're doing the first layer of color over the India ink underpainting, which is working out very well. So a lot of fun. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, sir. And so, yeah, Eddie Murphy's turning out to be a lot of fun to paint. He looks like a king or a nobleman here. So I love it, really do. I love the photograph. So that's cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is I got my paintbrush, and we're going to look at some of the detail. And we're not necessarily going to be doing that with the airbrush. So I'm going to use a paintbrush, and I'm going to start working on some of her eyelashes. So let's see if we can zoom in together. Let's see. All right, so cool. And I'll get rid of me. No one wants to see me. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Where am I? There we go. Okay, great. So now we can get to work, guys. So, looking at that, I'm still going to be working with the Wicked. And it's a dark color, but it's not black, right? So I'm going to come and get a couple of colors. Burnt umber. I did see that earlier. And I'll just take some burnt umber. And what I could use these little caps that are for the cups, and I'm going to use them to put in some of the colors. So we got some burnt umber, and let's do some sepia with that. Kind of cool it down, you know, keep it from getting too dark. Wendy, how are you all the way from the Dallas, Texas area? How's everything? So glad to see you. So cool. Wendy is doing some amazing work over there, and always excited to see her. Okay, so I have some water. Now, one of the things that you all know is I always have a test paper, which is the same color and texture of what I'm working on right here. And when I do work in paintbrush techniques, I do something called a dry brush technique. So I'm just going to come here like this. Now this may not be as dark as I want, but we can always go darker, right? Mr. Brad, how are you all the way from Manitoba, Canada? Great to see you, my friend. How's everything going? I know you drove to Winnipeg. How did that go, my friend? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to define some of this area here a little bit. Her beautiful eyelashes. I can always go darker, so you know, it's always good policy to go light. Now I'm not going to go all the way because that's a job for the airbrush, but because it's a nice soft edge. And I'm not going to go all the way down because this gets orange over here, because you see the under part. Same thing here. This is orange, so I don't want to do that. But what I can do is I can start doing some of these individual eyelashes here. Now one of the tricks is try not to be equidistant or the same size. Very important, because when we do that, it starts to look fake and artificial, you know? Oh, cool, went to the art store. Did you get anything interesting? And like I said, this is very light, and I could go darker, but it's always good to go lighter first. And just make sure you don't go the same direction or equidistant. There we go. And then there's some things going on down here. We can put them in. Don't be afraid to use all your tools in your toolbox, right? All the tricks and all the skills that you have, and you know, bring it all to the forefront in your artwork. Ryan, how's it going all the way from Canada? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're back. So that is great, Ryan. Wendy says, oh, oh yes, Wendy, you had the the surgery on your hand. Yes. Oh wow. Take your time typing. Maybe do that push to talk thing, or that voice typing if they have it for Facebook. I don't know. And so you can see I am just being ever so careful, taking my time, having fun, no rush whatsoever. And there's these little cool little hairs going this way, different directions, right? Just and then let's work on her eye here. There we go. Really bring that out. Mr. Steve Leahy, how are you, my friend? All the way from Ohio. Great to see you, sir. Fellow Airbrush live streamer. We are a strange breed, I think, us Airbrush live streamers. Not many of us, but I think it's a brave few that do the Airbrush live streams. And of course, I'm always setting up for the next eye, right? So let's move on over to eye number 2. There we go. And Mr. Dwayne Marshall, how you doing from San Luis Obispo? Go Mustangs! Never banana slugs, unless you like that team. And so we're just doing some paintbrush techniques with the Wicked. It's always good to stay with the medium as much as possible, right? You can go ahead and do colored pencils, and I will, but I always try and stay with the medium that I'm working with throughout as much as possible. Not much as possible, as much as going to make the best painting. So great group today. I'm so glad everyone is here. That is great. Really enjoying you guys and girls out there every Wednesday. I just have so much fun. Too much fun. I look forward to it all week. I'm looking forward to the next live stream, the next project with Createx. And it seems like they get more exciting with Createx. Love Createx. We're getting a little bit of a glare here. So I'm always looking at, when I'm doing the eye, making sure I get the negative space correct. Wow, Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate you. That is so encouraging, sir. That means the world to me, my friend. It makes me think that, or makes me know that I'm doing the right thing or on the right track. And Ryan, thanks so much for hanging out and your support. I really appreciate you a lot, sir. I just want to say thank you. So we do have a little bit of a glare. I think we can live with the glare for now. So thank you for that super chat, my friend. I really appreciate you. And I'm so glad that you're here. Viva Canada! My friends from up north. So cool. And we'll just make sure that we have symmetry. Symmetry is so important. go. And we still have to work on the eyelashes over here. And again, we're going to do this. We're going to go back over it with the airbrush, of course, and just use any technique that's going to give us a better painting, you know? And so it's so important. Okay, so now we could come back here, and if we zoom out, we can look and see if those eyes, they look pretty good. They look pretty symmetrical. And so I'm okay right now. And let's get ready to rumble here. And just make sure that you try not to be equidistant or the same size. If that happens, it's going to look really quirky. And Ryan says he hadn't had much time to catch the live streams, but appreciate what you guys do when I catch a few minutes. Oh yes, it's a lot of fun, the live streams, because you're really interacting with one another in the airbrush community. And I really think that the airbrush community, the live streamers, the Scott McKay and the Steve Leahy's, and those who do the live streams with consistency, I think really go a long way in, making the airbrush community closer. And that's what it's about. And it's about community. It really is. I really feel that way. And we have a few hairs here going this way. And fight that inclination to be equidistant, same size, or parallel, because then it kind of looks spidery. There we go. All right, so since we're here, we have an opportunity to work on her eyelashes, which is good. Dwayne says he was working on some layout with headphones and listening to music and was wondering what the beeping was. It was this. What was the live stream? Oh, you get alerted, sir? Very cool. So now we could move on over to the other eye. And believe me, it looks very strong right now. That's because right now we're just a little more detailed and dark over here. But as we work around, it will even out. So whenever you go ahead and take anything to the next level, it's always going to stand out, and then it kind of calms down afterwards. But the fact that we're still working with the Createx really goes a long way. If you wanted to clear coat this, no problem. So that would be fantastic. It's funny, sometimes when I'm watching Steve Leahy's live streams and I'm painting along with it, right? And then when I'm not painting, I'm like, oh my God, do I have an air leak? And it's Steve's airbrush going on the live stream. It's very funny, right? Because that's what happens. And I'm sure half of you all are kind of airbrushing right now as I'm doing this. Like I said, all of this is going to look a bit out of place, but that's okay because it's going to set the bar for other aspects. So now this is going to be much darker. We're going to come in with the highlights and everything, so it's going to work out. So this dark basically is a mixture of burnt umber and raw umber actually. I didn't want to go with black because then that would be really out of place, right? So okay, so far so good. Bring this down. Okay, so pretty happy with that thus far. And Brad says he's eating a very sweet watermelon from the garden. Very cool. Steve says, always check my compressor because I... Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what in the world? That is so hilarious. It happens to me all the time. Or if I'm, looking at I'm editing my videos and the compressor's going, I'm like, oh, why is my compressor going on? And it's from the videos as well. So, yeah, we kind of freak ourselves out with the compressor noise. Okay, so on her lips we have a couple of really nice little darks that are kind of sitting there, and we're going to go ahead and put that in. Put them in. Now why not black? Because black would translate as a whole, but if you have something like a burnt umber with some sepia, it'll translate as the inside of her mouth. So that's, it's important. And plus, the whole thing, if you have the same value other places in your painting, it's going to create a nice sense of balance, visual balance. Just a little bit right here. Remember, with anything, whether it's airbrush, computer, digital art, pressure, the amount of pressure is going to be the amount of whatever you're doing. So lighter means, if you lighter pressure means lighter application. So right here, it's darker on the tip of her nostril here. So as the light cannot get in her nostril, it's going to get a little bit darker right there. Great. So we're going to work on just some little bit of paintbrush for a little while, then go back in with the airbrush. It's going to be fun. But I'm not sure with the background. Usually I decide on the background, especially with the Persephone series. But for some reason I didn't, and that's weird. So the background is still kind of up for grabs. Now what's interesting, if we go to this kind of tissue here, it's darker right at the edge of the wing of the nostril. Just darker right there. And here, I'm going to leave it light coming down here because I'm going to come in with a warm color. Same thing here. That's going to be a warm orange, right? So I'm going to hold off on that, and then we'll come out like this. Brad says, how's the new online class coming along? Not bad there, Mr. Brad. So I'm about 65% done with the new, my new online course. It's going to be, again, working with the portrait with India ink, which is the basis for everything. My airbrush work, my oil paintings, everything. So it's going to be a very concise, and it should be up next week. So that's going to be very cool. And thanks for asking, my friend. I appreciate that. So let's see where some other areas that we can work on. So you see this beautiful kind of orange color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my paintbrush, and I want to get this real beautiful orange color that's on her, uh, the crease of her upper eyelid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this color, which is really cool. It's Golden Yellow by Wicked. It's not the detail, just regular Wicked line. I'm going to shake that, shake it. And you can see I'm just putting a little bit right here. And then I want to get the burnt sienna. So I'm looking for burnt sienna. I have burnt orange, that will work. That's pretty close. We're going to put that right here. So the great thing about this stuff, you know, we just open our mind and we could use the Wicked paint for so many different applications, which is great. All right, so I have my palette knife. I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to mix that up until I feel it's close to what I'm looking for. And I am going to just ever so slightly 4011 it. This might be too dark, but the proof is going to be in the pudding, so let's see. Let's see how this goes. Just ever so lightly, and I could calm that down. Mr. Dwayne Marshall with the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate your support and your friendship. It really goes a long way, financially, emotionally. It's encouraging, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, my friend. You know, like I said, I look forward to seeing you guys and girls, and it's just like such a pleasure. Life could get pretty rough, but this is always such a good time. It really is. And I just love this community, Mr. Dwayne, and all the information that you share with me is really great as I embark on this wicked journey. Kind of sounds like debauchery when I say wicked journey, right? It's funny. Oh, Michael, I never seen a portrait of your dad. And where is that? Is that on Facebook? I'm going to check it out as soon as this live stream is over. So I remember you were talking about with the 57 Chevy, I believe. It was a car, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, forgive me. Let's see. So I love the way that works. I think I hit that on the money. And let's go on over to this eye. And I can always calm it down later with the airbrush. But this is really kind of fleshing her out. You know, doing all that airbrush, you know, with the orange and white mixture. Mr. Dennis Baker, how are you all the way from the Dallas area? Great to see you, my friend. How have you been, sir? So I'm so glad Dennis is here. This is a great night. So many great people are joining us tonight. And once again, thank you so much, Mr. Dwayne, for that super chat. You are amazing, my friend. So we are doing pretty good. And let's see. Okay, so basically we have that. So I love this mixture. So again, if you're doing things like creases of the eye and stuff, this Wicked Golden Yellow and that's the regular Wicked line. And then I had this burnt orange color, detail burnt orange. It was a nice combination, so that worked out. But let's see if we could make this work somewhere else. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you, Dwayne. I really appreciate you, sir. You are amazing. And one of these days I got to make a trip out to California to see at work. I'm looking forward to that one day. Let's see. I loved California when I was out there. I really did. I thought it was an amazing place. Almost moved out there. So instead of moving out there, I got married. No longer married, but that's. But it wasn't a girl out in California. But there was a woman out in California that I was kind of chasing. Let's see. That's the thing, you know. I spent my 20s shy with women, and then my early 30s chasing women, and then I got married, and then now that I'm single again, I don't know how to do anything anymore. But I was pretty good in my 30s, that's for sure. I was getting it down in my early 30s. Oh, that would be great if you came by, Dwayne. I'll definitely show you all of the New York City galleries and all of the museums and everything. Well, the galleries are kind of disappearing, and that's a shame. But that's just the market, you know. So now this crease down here. Let's look at the crease. So this color is really good for the creases in her body. Let's go down to the crease. So if I did black, it just wouldn't work. But this color, it works. Yes, I can do this with the airbrush, and that would be fine. But would it be the best tool for the job? Maybe not. But I know this is pretty easy. And then we could bring this down. No, no strip clubs. That's funny. How about Hooters? That would be good. I like Hooters. But strip clubs, I think I might get in trouble. Let's see. And so that should be it. Maybe just a little here. But now there's this beautiful pink, this light pink that is right on the underside of it. Now I could go ahead and do colored pencil, but I think I want to stick with Wicked here, because those of you who are working with you know, cars and stuff like that, I want to, you know, have techniques that are applicable to what you guys are doing. So what we can do is I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to mix a really nice neutral pink. Okay, so if I look at that, it's more like a red-orange color. So I'm going to take this, which is the Wicked Detail Orange, which I haven't opened yet. So we'll stick with the Wicked Orange. So for some reason I've been hitting the Wicked Orange, and then once I have that, then I could come in with just, that's probably okay. And now I'm going to come in with, I'm running low on detail white. Wow. So I've been painting up a storm, guys, with Wicked, and I'm just having the best time. So if you haven't worked in Wicked, please do it. You're going to have a great, great time. Mr. Brad Mummery with the Super Chat, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you and your support and your friendship. It's just really amazing. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for that, Brad. It's just really fantastic. You guys are just really amazing. Mr. Dennis with the Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. You guys are just really humbling me. I want to thank you guys for this wonderful show of support, and it just makes me realize that I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to keep the live streams like it is, and it really doesn't matter how many of yous are out there. It's just who's out there, right? And that's how I'm looking at it. It's just who's out there. And I have the best people. Honestly, you guys are like, guys and girls are like the best of the best. So just thank you. Thank you, Brad and Dennis. You guys are above and beyond. And just thank you so much. And, you know, it's just... It really is nice, you know, without sounding, you know, but it's just extremely nice, and that word is something that is moved around and used too often, but you guys, your support is just really nice, and it just feels so incredible, and I really hope and pray I get to do these live streams and hang out and share my art, and my art grows and your art grows, and this community just stays strong and grows when it's supposed to grow. And if it doesn't grow quickly, that's okay. That's totally okay, right, guys? And so thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Just amazing. Now, I have this here. Let me zoom out here so you guys can see. So you see how that, and then I'm going to come in with the airbrush and kind of cool that down, because I love that orange and white mixture that I use so much. Wow, Michael, all the way from the Maryland area. Thank you, my friend, for the super chat. That is so great. I'm looking forward, Michael, to seeing that painting of your dad. That must be incredible. I can't wait to see it. Mike, thanks for coming and hanging out and, you know, all this time. You know, your comments are so important, and I just want to say thank you so much for the support and the friendship. You guys are just really incredible, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir. This is just incredible. Now, I think I have that pink, guys. Let's see if we have that pink. It is kind of dull. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of tap it. Let's take a look. Let's go deep into her eyes. Look deep into her eyes. That never worked. Let's see. Let's see. So right now I'm just going to just lightly touch that. And I can always dull it down. But you see how we can kind of bring... Now right here, I could come in with the pink and just have it in the back of my mind. I'm going to darken this pink later, right? Not everything you do, you have to do right away. You can put it in the back of your mind and say, I'm going to take care of that later. And then right here, we have this little tiny bit of pink here. Just a tiny bit like that. And let's move on over to the other eye and see. Now that pink is really good, so I may use it in other areas. So right now, this is something I have to remember. So do you guys know do you guys know if what this is, this little corner of her eye is, this little pink thing, what that is called? I know there's a name for it. So you Google, those who know how to use Google, let me know what that is. And I gotta commit it to memory. I'm a bit of a, I don't know what you call it, but anatomy has become a hobby of mine. And I just love it. I love using anatomy. The tear duct. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate that. That's perfect. Ryan says, I just want to say that while his super chat was the smallest, I think I'm responsible for this floodgate. Thank you for opening the floodgate, my friend. I appreciate it. And it doesn't matter what size, it just matters that you guys let me know and encourage me. Any size is super encouraging. So thank you. Thanks, Ryan and everybody. I'm just so excited. And it's just amazing. You know, every time I'm just amazed every time. I remember years ago, so I've been doing the live stream basically every week since 2018. Every single week since 2018. Intermittently since 2016, I've been doing the live streams. But what's really cool is that when I first started, there was like no one there. I was doing these ghost live streams, and it was really funny. I guess I said to myself, eventually these things are going to be seen in recording, so I would just kind of talk to myself. Oh, Colette, how are you? Great to see you. Nasolacrimal duct. That's really cool. Oh, man. Great information from both Brad and from Colette. You guys are amazing. And so let's see. Mr. Mike says it's on Facebook. I always post his work on Saturday. Cool. Can't wait to see that, Mike. And let's see. Michael says he was always looking for someone to blame. And so as you can see, we can use this pink here just really strategically. And we can always kill the saturation, but you may want to increase the saturation. You know, that's all good. So we zoom out, we can see that now she looks a little more alive, and that's always good. I gotta turn the overhead light because it's creating kind of a weird shadow. Let me do that. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Brad says, Colette beat him to it. Thank you guys for that. I really appreciate. Brad says he looks in the anatomy book and see if he can find the 3-foot-long name for it. That's funny. And so pretty soon we're going to go back to airbrush because I don't want to do too much detail, but let's see right here if this pink is a little too strong. Let's see. What I can do is I'm going to mix a little bit of this color with the pink, and I'm going to come out with the crease color of her lips here. Let's see if this works. As Mr. Leahy says, what could go wrong, right, sir? So let's see. I'm going to just tap it and say, wow, that's a crazy color. But it's close, but I need it just a little bit darker, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of my original eyelash color to this. Let's see what we can get. We get something that looks like something. Not bad. And then we can just kind of calm it down a little bit. And then we have something right here. We can always get Colette. Thank you so much for the super chat. You are amazing. Thank you. That is so encouraging. I really appreciate that so much, Colette. Thank you. This is becoming another one of those record days of super chats, and I am like so excited and so encouraged. You know, the live streams are important. I really feel that. You know, I feel that they are really, really important to keep them going, especially when, you know, there are days when I'm like, ugh, I'm just kind of under the weather. But I always try to keep them going because, like I said, it's all about community with me and keep that. You know, it's like TV. You know, it's back when I was a kid, TV was so important, and I remember on Tuesdays, all my favorite shows were on Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, Taxi, uh, and all those shows like right in succession of one another on Tuesdays. And I just look forward to that. Not that my live stream is anything as entertaining as that, but it's just that consistency I feel that is so important. See how using this kind of orangey color is really important and how black just would not work. So this orangey color really is important. Hey, what's up, Mr. Patrick? Cheese Grits and NyQuil. Patrick and I are working on an incredible painting together. We are working on a painting of Madonna from the 90s, and that is a lot of fun. So I'm enjoying that, sir. Patrick is one of my students, so it's always a pleasure. Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil. That's so funny. Thursday was Buck Rogers, yes. And you know, my favorite part of Buck Rogers was Erin Gray, and I'm sure that was yours as well. I'm not sure who else was in that show. I just remember her. But I was only 15 or 14, so I wasn't sure why I was only paying attention to her at that point. Michael says, be able to get some more wicked colors on a cheeseburger at McDonald's. And, you know, cheeseburger at McDonald's are amazing. So definitely. And so just creating some of those creases, you know, to be continued, right? We're going to work on that later. But just creating some of this. That robot was annoying with that little thing. Whose idea was that with the robot? You know, Tweaky? Was it Tweaky or something like that? But yeah, it had that really weird Cookie Monster noise. Thursday night was Hill Street Blues. Yes, I remember the music of Hill Street Blues. That meant I had to go to bed. Well, in the early going, not when the season got, I was in high school and college at the end of the season, at the end of that show. But yeah, that was a great show. And Cheers. So Thursday was a different night, right? Because you had Mork and Mindy, and then something else was going on, you know. I know Mork and Mindy was at 8, and I think Too Close for Comfort was on as well, right? Too Close for Comfort. Love that show with Ted Knight, which was originally called the Ted Knight Show. Yeah, I'm definitely showing my age right now. So, yes, I'm old. So that's all that's to it. So I'm going to do one more thing with the paintbrush. And you're like, one more thing, Tim. When are you going to use the airbrush? I know. But the thing is, I want to do the lights that are in here, because let me show you. So right in here, I want to do the lights that are in there. And if I go ahead, I can do it with the white mixture. Fraser is good. I love Fraser. You know, the new series is coming out, and I'm so excited about that, Colette. But the thing is that Niles isn't coming back, and hopefully he'll make a cameo. But Niles is amazing. Love Niles. Love the show. I mean, and of course the dad's no longer with us, and ugh, you know. But yeah, I love, love, love with a capital L. I love Frasier. That was Thursday nights, but that was more like later. So as you can see, she's starting to flesh out a little bit, starting to become a little more personable. When we hit those lights, it's going to really pop. Just like when we're doing the Airbrush in India ink, right? So Taxi, Latka, right? Was Latka not amazing, right? And then Carole King was in that show. Wow. So Mary Lou Henner, Tony Danza, Michael Riga, what was his name? Just Danny DeVito. It's amazing the talent that was there in the early days. It was everywhere. It permeated, right? And Cheese Grits and NyQuil Patrick says Fraser was always too intelligent for me. Smart guy humor just eludes. You're brilliant, man. I don't know how that's true, Patrick. You're a brilliant guy. Might just the dry humor just might not be your cup of tea, but it has nothing to do with intelligence. And Steve Leahy says, "Thanks, Michael. I just recorded 2 more episodes today. It's so close to being done." So let's see. What did Michael say? Steve, the Harley painting is look. Yeah, it is. It's looking incredible. Steve's Harley painting. If you haven't checked it out on his YouTube channel, just incredible. Just incredible. Just fantastic. So definitely check that out. And Ryan says they really ruin some of those great classics when they remake them. MacGyver, did they do a second MacGyver? Because MacGyver was great, and I remember him when I was in college, and he was always making something and getting out of maximum security prison with like bubble gum. Christopher Lloyd, yes, with Jim being the burnout, just so incredible. I mean, it just was amazing. We didn't really realize just how talented they were back then. You know, Christy Alley, just amazing, beautiful lady. You know, she's no longer with us. God rest her soul. Rhea Perlman, all of that. It's just amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so we're going to mix that flesh tone, and that flesh tone's really dark, and we're going to go back to this, right? Remember that mixture? But we're going to mix, I love shortcuts. And your and my favorite shortcut is Detail Flesh Tone. This is by Wicked Createx. So we're going to make this happen, and I love my shortcuts. We're just going to put some of this right here. And it's kind of dark, you know, but so is that. And what I'm going to do is, I'm an oil painter, right? So I am going to use my palette knife. And I'm going to grab some of this stuff right here. And we're going to make this really nice and dark. And I'm going to add a little bit of that mixture that we did. Remember that mixture we did with the eyelashes? We're going to add just a tad of this. Everything that you do, you know, whether it's music or oil painting or anything creative, photography, if you could utilize that and take your knowledge and experience from that and bring it to your painting, wow, you just have an edge. You'll have, and that's your own cocktail, right? It's your own little thing that you do. Every experience. I have a friend and student, he is a engineer, and he just brings that engineering kind of mindset, and that is just unbelievable. And that And it's contagious, right? And I look at that and I go, holy cow, I never seen it that way. And I want to show you something that he made early, late, in a little bit. I'm going to show you what he made, which is really incredible. Okay, so we're just going to take some of this. This may be too light, but we'll see. So right here we have, but I can always dust over it. This right here, see that? See how that very lightly? So you're getting the light pattern, right? And then right here. Now, yeah, you could have done this with the airbrush, but it's much more, this is a much better tool for that. And if you see Steve Leahy live streams, I learned so much from his live streams. He utilizes all these different type of techniques, and it's really contagious. That's all I have to say, because he gets my ideas going of using different tools. So you see how that really changes everything? And I think that's a good mixture. So for me, my experience with oil painting really comes into play when I'm painting, right? When I'm painting an airbrush. And, you know, that's Tom Selleck. I never got into Magnum PI. So did like that Magnum PI. He was, you know, he had that Ferrari, man. That was really nice. Steve says, Steve Driscoll, the flesh tone is great. Yes. Now, is that Wicked Color, Steve, from the Steve Driscoll series? If that is, that's great. He was such a nice guy, and the couple of times I got to speak to him, he was really gracious and helpful. And you know, 3 cheers to Steve, Mr. Steve Driscoll. You know. And let's see, Brad says shorter route, more dollars per hour. Brad says pretty good. Let's see. Let me see what Brad had set up here. Brad says pretty good. Thanks, Patrick. Tried to retire from driving the school bus, but I'm back until Christmas. As soon as you're out, they pull you back in, as Al Pacino said, right? In Godfather 2. Michael says, Drummer Boy on Christmas. That was great, yeah. When I was a kid, I liked it a lot more. Well, then again, when we were kids, we had to wait, right? We didn't go ahead and just have it on Amazon, or people don't even, you notice that people don't even bother with DVDs anymore, that DVDs are becoming obsolete? That's amazing. People used to have DVD collections. Now they're like, are you going to get rid of them? You know. So now I have this color, and I'm going to have it follow the clavicle. See how it follows the clavicle? So you have to have that kind of imagination, or, you know that the highlight or the light is going to follow that clavicle. Oh, that's amazing. Yes. Those of you who have seen, I don't know if it's still available, but the video that Steve Driscoll did of Frank Sinatra, out of this world. Just out of this world. And Patrick says he's trying to get Steve Leahy to paint Charles Bronson's mustache. But maybe he'll move it over to Tom Selleck's mustache. Yeah, well, you know what they say. If you see Charles Bronson's mustache up close, that's your butt. That means I would normally say that's your A, you know what, but A double S. But yeah, so definitely, you know, if you see Charles Bronson up close, that means it's your last day on Earth. Right there. That was a little strong, so I may get rid of that. So, but I'm really happy with that so far, and I think that works out. Let me see where else I can see a little bit of this kind of beautiful orangey color. Ooh, right here perhaps. Let's see. Remember, light application means what? Light color, you know? And Dwayne says he hasn't tried that flesh tone yet. It is. It really is. You see how I lightened it up and darkened it? And I use it. Of course, I know how to mix flesh tones, right, Dwayne? But I like flesh. I like your shortcuts. I try not to teach it to my oil painting students, but I use shortcuts myself. I'll show you an example. When I'm doing an oil paint and I want to do flesh, I use this Utrecht color called Warm Blush. And, you know, it really is a beautiful color, and it really helps me to go either way. If I want to cool it down or warm it up or darken it up or lighten it. So a good kind of mid-tone flesh color. And that's what this is, Dwayne, with the Wicked. So definitely I super highly recommend it. I'm just going to go get a lemonade. Be right back. So we are in the second hour of commercial-free live streaming. So I tried to put off the ads. Has anyone seen the ads? Because I got rid of them on the live stream. So that is cool. Thank you so much, Brad. Brad said hit the like button. I appreciate that. And oh, cool. So I heard about the ring that Patrick wants to make for Steve Leahy. And so that is exciting. So can't wait to see that. So yeah, you'll really enjoy, Dwayne, that flesh tone. I know you're going to be able to do great things with it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. So off screen you can see I went ahead and I worked on her dress a little bit just to get things going, you know, a little further. So let's go ahead and let's mix some paint. So I have I'm ordering the smaller cups, which are coming shortly. Actually, I have to order them, but anything you order on Amazon comes shortly. No ads yet. Great. Okay, so I killed the ads. I put it on the replays, but there were ads on the live stream which I didn't like, you know. So that's good. So now, game plan. What are we doing? You know, what do we need to do here with this? So let's take a look. What can we kind of... I'm thinking, let's go in with our orange, a white and orange mixture. And let's see if we could start working on her hair a little bit. It's going to be dicey. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but let's take a look, right? We can always cry after together. So I did have something to protect her face, but let's just go with the white mixture right now. So like I said, I'm running out of the detail white, so I'm going to use the detail flat opaque white, which works just as well. And we're going to... So again, when I do this technique, I like to coat the bottom. Just like so. Coat that bottom. And then I 40-11 it, 1-to-1. And you're going to know what your sweet spot is, right? It's not my sweet spot, but you'll know what your sweet spot. But if you do this, if you're using the 2 ounce, this ratio is super on the money. And the Wicked Orange. Michael says, Tim, do you use that white and orange mixture all the time. This is my go-to thing because I kind of have a weird technique, right? Because I'm a pastel painter and I work in oils and I work in pastels and oils, which uses a lot of opaque. So the transparent route, except when I'm working in India ink, the transparent route is not who I am as an artist. So using that white mixture, I'm able to put the opaque, to put on the transparent, to put the opaque, to put on the transparent, kind of working that back and forth, you know? So glad no ads. 2 drops of this orange here. And like I said, I'm an oil painter. Take out my palette knife. Like I said, you know, bring your past into, this is a pretty profound statement. I don't say too many profound things, but this is really profound. When you're doing your art, and, you know, both with subject matter, but also when you're doing your art, bring your past into it, right? Not only your present, but your past. So that's where the great art comes from. And that's where the great technique comes from. If you bring your past into it, that's who you are. You know, when you bring your past into your art, you're bringing in your own perspective, life through your eyes, right? And that's basically what we are, is just life through our eyes. I'm going to show you something that I'm going to take my artwork away from this because that's smart, right? I'm going to take my art away. I'm going to bring her back. Don't worry, she'll come back. I'll put her here. Now, this is what my student, who's an engineer, made. Now, look at this. This is incredible. And I'm just going to do something. So this has a little mesh on it, and it has a funnel, and look at that, it just fits like that. See that? And you see you can move it around and it fits really nice, and it has this mesh in there. So watch this, and we can just dump that in, and so we're kind of developing this together, that this comes with this is actually a cover that will cover the little 1-ounce paint cups. So it'll be really several things that you can do. So it's really cool, and it really is very, very, very ingenious. So now we have that strained. I'm going to put it here. And thanks, Colette, and thanks, Steve. Yeah, that's my engineering friend. You know, I work with him and say, you know, maybe, you know, we need this, we need that, and he has a really good 3D printer. So we may see that. We might have like a joint venture where we'll have that available. And this will actually fit on top of a cup, upside down like this. And there'll be a cap on it, so it'll have double purposes, which is really neat. So let me go ahead and clean this. I always like to clean this first. And this is you know, a nice plastic, so it cleans up real easy. See that? And now you could use this on the cap of the 1-ounce cups we're going to get, and it will screw right on, and there'll be a little cap on here like that. So pretty exciting stuff. So that's something that's in the works, in the develop, R&D they call it, right? Is that what they call it, R&D? Okay, so let's put Angela over here. Angela is the name of the model. I was so fortunate that she posed for me, and that was a while ago. I lost contact with her. I hope I can find her so she can pose for me again. let's see. Okay. And of course, we always want to see what this looks like and if it works. One of the things I do before each painting session, I'll give my airbrush a really good cleaning. A really good cleaning before each paint session. Okay, so now I'm going to look, where can I lighten things up a bit, right? Where can I kind of go in with a little more detail? And right here, just a little bit. So you see this orange and white mixture, how it just lightens things up, just ever so slightly, and it really is wonderful. So, you know, as you know, with airbrush, you don't have the ability to use white, because if you do, everything gets all weird. It starts getting blue and gray and all that fun stuff. But now, I can just come in and just do that little bit of detail, right? Little bit of life. Try and find the life. Just bring that down, which is really important. And okay, so let's see what else we can do here. Some other places where we could add a little bit more of a powerful light. And I could come in with the paintbrush, but I think the airbrush, when you're doing these like powerful lights, these more lighter area, light facing features, I believe the airbrush is doing a better job at that. Michael says, too late, I've already got my stuff from Ace Hardware and Straining Paint. Oh, cool, that's cool. Yeah, you know, we all have different ways of doing it, you know, and I'm learning so much from other airbrush artists about straining paint. And I know Bill Kennedy had a good video on straining paint, which was great. And I love that. And it's great when, you know, everyone kind of shares their knowledge and expertise. So now I want to make sure that I'm getting good flow, because I'm going to do something that is a little, raise my air pressure a little bit. Right here. Now, when it's not coming out, I get a little nervous. And I don't want it to come out on my artwork. Like, if it's not coming out, I don't want to keep pulling it out, pulling back, and then it's on my painting. It's not the end of the world, just means I have to fix it, that's all. So right now, I'm looking at this, and I'm not getting the flow I'm wanting. So I'm just going to do some checking of the low-hanging fruit, making sure that, and this is one of the things, this second wheel, which controls the tension, was too far back. So that might have been it. And I'm just going to pull that needle back. That might have been it too. So there's a couple of things that could have caused that. Yeah, now we're getting better flow. So now we'll just kind of play with this. There we go. So that's good. So I feel good about that. And Ryan said he strained his back the other day, if anyone is interested in seeing a video on that. Oh man, did you really? How did that happen, my friend? Oh wow, I'm so sorry. Now, is that a joke because we were talking about straining paints? It might be. But if it's not, I'm sorry you strained your back. So now you see I made those little, I checked out the low-hanging fruit, and now I'm able to make these slightly light areas, just lighten things up with this orange mixture. It's great. Ah, that is funny, Ryan. And Patrick says, just made the best sandwich ever. Canadian bacon, string cheese, two Pocky Haunted Ghost pepper chips. Oh my God. So those are the ones that were in the news, right? Where they were doing that Pocky chips. Uh, I did get it. Okay, very good, Ryan. I thought it might have been a joke. So I'm glad. So it's funny, and I'm glad you didn't hurt your back. Yeah, those Pocky chips. I heard that people were doing challenges and getting sick. So that's amazing if you could eat them. So right here, you see it's a little light, but that's okay. I'm going to come in and calm that down. But I needed that to be lighter. And but it's always good to push your envelope, right? Always push the envelope. Try and break it to fix it, right? Sometimes you have to do that, to break it to fix it. And that's what I do when I paint. I'm not afraid to uh, you know, go ahead and mess it up a little bit to come back and fix it and make it better. That's important. Let's see here. Right here, it's a little bit lighter. It is risky to do, but I'm going to do it. See how that kind of brings that out? It was risky to work on it. Now right here, the dark doesn't come all the way up, so I'm going to bring this orange and white mixture, and I'm going to check make sure. With the white mixture, you're not going to have the perfect flow. You're going to have to keep going back and forth until you get it right. And where else? Just looking, where else can we kind of work on this? Right here we have this beautiful light here, and that's too light, and like I said, I'm not worried about making it look weird before I fix it. So I'm going to come back in with the flesh tone to kind of calm that down. I'm going to work on the white of the eyes a little bit. Yeah, so once that gets to this where I am fighting it, I am no longer working with it. So I'm going to put this back, and I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to clean this out. And for some reason, it did not work. But I'm not going to continue down this road and fight with it, because no one should be fighting with the airbrush. It's like working with a paintbrush that is all screwed up. If you're working in oils, there's no reason to. You fix it, get another paintbrush, and go from there. So I'm going to be right back, guys. Wait here. I'm just going to clean this rather quickly. Okay, that wasn't too bad. We are almost ready to put that stuff back in, and I think we're going to have a better time because there was a little something in the airbrush, and it's amazing when you find that and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that. So we're just going to blow some air through that to get any kind of moisture that went into the body. I give my airbrushes super deep cleaning, definitely. And you know, I went ahead and went in that nozzle and actually found a little hair, like a tiny little hair that was in there. And believe it or not, that could be something that could really cause really big issues. So let's go ahead and put some more of this in there. Very cool. And I'm just going to rinse this out real quick. Okay, part two. Let's see. Let's see how this goes, my friends. Fingers crossed. Should be better. Let's see. Night and day. Okay. Let's see what I missed. One chip challenge is more severe than these. Oh, okay. So it's not as bad as that. And Ryan says, you have a fine eye for color matching, Tim. It's not as easy as you make it look. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. And hard to see putting in white. Yeah, definitely, Brad. And Michael says he figured out that they call them a smartphone. Takes you a little bit of time to figure them out. And Ryan says, I wish I had some ads to watch while you were waiting. That's funny, Ryan. That's a good one. Okay, so I think we're doing better now. So let's take a look. I'm going to raise the air pressure a little bit. Okay, when all else is happening, we're going to add some more 4011 to this, because that's probably what Steve Leahy is saying. It's too thick, Tim. I know that's what he's saying. Let's see. Gonna add, I rarely do that add in the cup, but dire circumstances. Let's see if that works. Had to get another phone. Oh wow, 8 years later. Let's see how this goes with thinner paint. So watching Steve Leahy's live stream, you learn a lot of stuff. And you learn about sometimes you have to thin this stuff for it to work. And that's what I'm doing now. And let's see. So I'm just working on the whites of her eyes here. There we go. And I'm going to come in and darken that, of course, but I just want to establish the whites of her eyes, and that's good. Steve Leahy says, nah. Definitely learning a lot of stuff watching his live streams. Okay, so we're going to work on this breast here, and we're just going to hit this with a blast of light. Let's make this happen. There we go. So it needed a little blast of light. I may end up darkening this a little better, but maybe I'll just kind of bring this down. That looks pretty good. Let's see this one here. There we go. Just a little bit of light right there. And I'll smooth that out a little bit later. Right here, this where the chin here is kind of meeting, facing the light right there. We're just going to add some light color here. There we go. And as you know, when I come in with light and it's too light, then I come in and I cool it down with the, you know, with that flesh tone, which is really good, you know. There are some days when the airbrush is just not cooperating, and that's what's happening today a little bit. But I'm staying with it and being tenacious, and that's all we can do, right? So we're just going to work on that. I'm going to work on her hair a little bit. Just put in some of the lights of her hair. And we're going to really kind of embrace the blue shift, because dark hair does get a blue color to it. And then we'll come back. But you see how nice that looks. Now, can we use something like Blackbeard wheat? I think we can here. I think it would work. Let's give it a shot, right? Let's do a little Blackbeard wheat action. That looks really good. So the Blackbeard wheat does work extremely well in this case. Right here. There we go. So that's actually helping a lot. So very happy with that. Right over here, bring some of that, just spray through that Blackbeard wheat, and you get some really nice light patterns. And like I said, I'm pretty happy with that. Live streams, some things are smooth, some things not so smooth. This worked out, so we happy, as they say on Pulp Fiction. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with the dark color and keep going back and forth. But I'm really liking the way that this really kind of brings her together, right? I mean, she's starting to have a little bit of life, and I'm going to do one more week. I just want to bring her together. So right now we have another half hour, but I am not quite like ready to say, okay, that's it for her. No, I think there's more that we can do and more that we can learn together with this painting. And you know, I'm learning as I'm painting. And do you feel that, Dwayne, that a lot of paintings are sort of like an exploration, that you kind of learn so much from each painting? So now I have this mixture, and if I went straight with white, it probably wouldn't turn blue. It probably would turn like an ugly gray. But that orange really helps to kind of calm that down. and always test out. What's the worst that could happen, right? So I have this orange mixture, and I'm going to look and see how I can work on this with her fabric, right? So I'm just going to kind of do a little work here. It works out really nice. You get some nice texture, and it's a little bit lighter over here, so I could kind of increase my distance and kind of make it feel like this area right here is facing the light a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll continue that right here. Now I may come back in with the purple and work on this a little bit, but it's not the star of the show, so I don't have to go too crazy with the fabric. Dwayne says he tries to learn and grow with every piece he does, but that's his motto with life in general. Very true, right? I need to do more of that. A lot of times, if things don't work out perfectly, I kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it's good to think of it as a learning experience. Definitely, Dwayne, I agree. That's a great way to look at it. But really loving it. So now, as McDonald's say, I'm loving it. So let's go ahead and do some beautiful highlights. I think that's always going to be fun. So we're going to do the paintbrush technique. And the highlights I want to do is really on the tip of the nose and on the pupil. But let me come over here. See if I can just do a little bit of detail right here. This little light speckle. Okay, that's good. I'm going to rinse this out. And then we're going to hit some highlights. And maybe come in with the paintbrush, and or maybe just do a dark and kind of do the free Blackbeard wheat and kind of get even more light patterns in her. Yes, Mike, never too old to learn. It's so true. Every day is a chance to learn and help somebody, especially ourselves, but definitely to help others. I mean, it's always that really great experience. So I'm going to get some of my white again. I'm going to put this here. And I want to hit those highlights in her eyes. And again, I do that dry brush technique. Let's see, right here. Beautiful catch light. I am an amateur. Well, I do make money from it, but it's my hobby. But I love doing portrait photography, in particular photography using flash in the studio. Really helps my painting. There we go. Really starting to get happy. That beautiful light right on her nose there. So cute. And let's see. Oh, right here on her lips here, we have some little lights there. Kind of just bringing her to life a little bit, right? I don't want to prematurely, because I'm getting so excited, but I don't want to prematurely come in with the lights, but I just love that. See that light? It just, so poignant, right? It's just when it all comes together or starts to come together, it's really nice. And hey, Mr. DreadFX, all the way from the UK. Love your channel, my friend. How are you, sir? Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. I love what you're doing with the clear coat and working on that that different kind of papers. You just, and the coffee painting. So, Dred, while you're here, Mister, uh, I just really, really love your work. But one of the things I want to say, Rob, right? Rob, one of the things I want to say is the coffee. What did you do to prepare that coffee? And can I do that with instant coffee? Uh, Rob, let me know because I'm just so excited about that. And I want to do that for a friend. She loves coffee, and I want to do a painting for her. So let me know if you can here, or just, one day we'll just email each other. But I would love to know how you did that. Have you guys out there check out DreadFX Custom Paint? He did a painting with coffee, and it was just amazing. Big fan. Just so cool. Really, really, really enjoyed that. So there's a little catch light right here on her eye. And then, oh, and speaking of the late great Steve Driscoll, he did this little catch light right here. And he said it just goes a long way with making that eye look watery. So cool. So it's nice, keeping the memory of these great artists alive, especially the airbrush artists who basically carried the torch for years and years. And I just have to say that their influence just goes on forever. And, we have to make sure we keep thanking them, those who aren't here. And the same thing, my teacher and mentor, Harvey Dinnerstein, I talk about him all the time. You know why? Because it's my job to keep his memory going, because he is just a great painter. And I want more people to see how great he was. Just a little specular. So this is called specular highlights right here. And we'll just put that there. So it was instant coffee. Mix it with hot water and let it cool down. Wow. And then for like the darker, you just added more instant coffee. Is that correct, Rob? Here we go. So what I want to do when we come back is I want to deepen this lip a little bit before we come in with the lights, right? So we don't want to prematurely put them in. But here, I can ever so lightly, with very light, a light touch, I could hit this corner of her eye. That light that comes right there on the corner of her eye here. And then I can go over it with a flesh tone, right? A light glaze. Remember, glazes, what is a glaze? Is when you have a lighter color and you go over it with a darker color that's transparent, And so that's cool. So it's important to let it cool down, right, sir? I didn't think of that, but I can imagine hot water through the airbrush might be interesting. Has anyone ever tried that? And this is something, Steve, you've been around a long time with the, working with airbrush. Has the temperature of the paint, because if we look at it in a way of physics, when things are hotter and heated up, the molecules move and the paint would be thinner. So without anything, maybe it would kind of, you heat it up, maybe the paint would kind of congeal or something. But I wonder what would happen if the paint was hotter. Because I'm thinking of the coffee, right? What would happen? So I'm just hitting this light here on the corner of her eye. I'm actually pretty happy with that. And then here, there's a little bit of light on the edge of her eyelash there. And, you know, your art is just something that, you have to give it time. Each painting, you just have to give it time. And it'll come together. But just make sure you don't rush it. And just like now, I want to go on to the next project. Oh, more tip dry when it's hotter. Yes, because Dwayne, you work outside doing murals. So is there a better flow when you're outside in the heat as opposed to, let's say, like at regular room temperature, or even when it's colder? It's just a question to ponder, right? But definitely more tip dry is very interesting. I would not have guessed that. Steve Leahy says, there you go, an airbrush with a heated cup. You know what? If it worked, I would do it. Like a little airbrush hot plate, right, sir? That would be hilarious. Because you know what? The airbrush really has not had any kind of real thought process going into it for what? Hundreds of years? I mean, what's the big breakthrough? I guess the big breakthrough would be, what I would say, is those portable compressors, which it's a great idea and they work to a certain extent, but they need R&D, right? They're almost there. But that's a great development. And so Dwayne says only do murals sometimes, but when working outside, he keeps his paint in an ice chest to keep them at moderate temperature. Now that's cool stuff right there. That's amazing. Wow. That is really amazing. So right here, I have this lighter flesh tone. And when I come over here like this, what I can do is ever so lightly just create a little bit of light there. Just like a pillow, right? When your head is in the pillow, it creates a chasm, but it also creates a corresponding light, right? Because it comes out. And we'll just pull that out like that. Same thing right here. Little things that you learn when oil painting and painting in pastel most of my life. And come back. Okay, so right now, so far so good. Hey, have a great night, Mr. Airton. Always a pleasure. So glad you're here, and take care of that, the extraction site, okay? And I'm so glad you're doing okay. Just keep that clean, all right? And keep those gauze in for the next couple of hours. Had a lot of dental work done, so that's why I know that stuff. And Dwayne says he's found paint too hot or too cold is a pitta to work with. Just easier to keep it around 70. Great information. Those are things that I bring into the table always. Always looking outside the box, and trying to figure out, different ways of doing it. I never go into a medium and keep it the way it is. I always try and look at it differently. Always, always. So let's go ahead with that flesh color. We were talking about Mr. Steve Driscoll's flesh tone. And I'm going to kind of calm down the light that I did. So we're going to start with this. And then we're going to add just a little bit. So this is kind of a glaze over it. So I want to keep this on the transparent side. Let me mix this really well. Get my little plastic palette knife. So, you know, when you're going into a painting, you always want to have your objective. And for me, I love the expression on Angela's face in this painting. And that was my main thing. So that's something that I'm really, you know, always trying to keep that objective in the forefront. Now, the background, I'm not sure what's going to do. I may work on it during the week. Now, the stuff I do during the week with this, I have it actually recorded, so I'm going to put them up on YouTube pretty soon. So I work during the week, but I also film it. Okay, so we have this right here, and I'm going to strain this. It's just the straight flesh color, but I'm going to be using it as a glaze. And let me just clean up my paint cup. Okay, now I have my airbrush with my flesh colored glaze, and I strained it. Oh, this is beautiful. The other airbrush, I should have used this airbrush. The other airbrush was giving me fits. So now see how I calm that down with the glaze of Steve Driscoll's flesh tone. Thank you, Steve, up in heaven. I hope you're looking down on us, and I hope you're having a lot of fun airbrushing up there. So we can definitely dedicate today's live stream, of course, to God first, but definitely to Mr. Steve Driscoll. Here's to you, sir. Thanks, Steve. Wish I got to know you better. I didn't have time. See how I can calm this down, calm down those colors, which is really great. Interesting, a formula. I love that idea. See, I love that kind of talk. That's amazing. Look at this. So this stuff is detail, and even though it looks like an opaque, it's actually a transparent, and it just blows my mind because I'm so into transparents and opaques when it comes to working in oils. So I love what Createx is doing with this wicked line, as if you haven't already figured that out, right, guys and girls? And oh, this airbrush is working so well. The other one was just like fighting me. Now I only have like 9 minutes, and now I finally have the airbrush that is just making me happy. Oh, just really nice. Just all that overextending with the white to make it better now just pays off, because now I just glaze that down. And so when you are working in this method, let's say there's something that's too harsh here. I come in with the orange and white mixture and kind of blast that out and soften it, and then come in and rework it with transparents, right? So you kind of smooth things over and mold with the opaques, the orange and white mixture, and then come back in with the transparents to really make things beautiful. So very nice. Another thing, when I come back, I'm going to work on this edge right along here. That's going to be nice. And then I'll just come back here so you can see the hair where we're working. And now you can just see how I can just calm this down. Also, I can calm down the whites of the eye with the flesh color. And you might be like, what are you doing? There's flesh color in the whites of the eyes. There's always flesh color in the whites of the eyes. Okay, not bad. So now we're going to bring it home for the live stream. Ryan, have a great night, my friend. And thank you so much for that. Thanks for the super chat. You're amazing, sir. Looking forward to talking with you next week or even during the week if you have time. Take care, sir. Okay, so now, remember I wanted to come in with the Blackbeard wheat and get some really interesting things. So I'm going to come in with a dark, a really nice dark, but I'm not going to use that other airbrush because that one is just not working with me. It's not my friend today. So let's see, maybe tomorrow. And I keep my airbrushes very clean, but sometimes something gets in there and, you know, so I'm just going to soak the nozzle tonight, and then it should be perfect. Okay, so this is clean, and always clean that cap too, because that cap will cause some issues. Dwayne says, he's found that painting on colder surfaces are harder than warm or hot surfaces. That is great. That is great info. Really cool. Love that. Okay, so we're going to come in and get that kind of dark kind of hair color. So it's almost, I love this black magenta. It makes me happy. So it's black, but it has this kind of magenta color in it, and it really works well. So I'm going to get a cup, put some of this detail black magenta. I just go crazy over color. I love color. And so when I find a new color like this black magenta, I've never seen it before in oils or watercolor. You name it, I've done it. I've never seen that color, so I'm really loving this a lot. I'm not the kind of painter who has a set number of colors, and especially in oils. A lot of oil painters have like 12 colors. Not this guy. I love having as many colors, opaques, transparents. You know what? It's really cool. It's a little thin, so if it gets a little thin, then I will come in with the 40-50. So I'm going to put a little drop of this 40-50 here. Just a little 40-50. There we go. And I'm really loving. So that 40-50 kind of made it just a little cloudy. So with that, I am going to add just detail smoke black, because we can. Just a little bit here. And we are getting close to the end of the live stream. Just thank you everybody for the super chats. You are all super amazing. Really appreciate you, and just really you all are inspiring me, and I love doing the live streams, and you know, they really help a lot, the super chats, just so much. Okay, so we're going to put that dark color in. We're just going to see if it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. So, okay, so here we go. We're going to get our Blackbeard wheat. And let's see how this works. Oh yeah. Really nice. So it's creating this texture that I like. And you could open it up and, make the spaces larger or smaller and twist and turn so you don't repeat. And you can create all kinds of little textures and stuff like that. Like right here towards the end, it's much more wide open towards the end of it. And in the middle, you get more of the tight. So we'll just put some right here. And whoop. We'll just spray that. And yeah, you're going to get this like really wonderful organic hair shapes that you couldn't do it in a million years if you tried to do it by hand. So that's something that I love that the airbrush world taught me. Things like this, and the oil painting world is, no, you must do it by hand. And I'm like, why? Right? So, and then you can cross it like that. Just do some really cool things. So, really loving it, as McDonald's says. Okay, so then I can come in here and just kind of do some freehand work here. And I always like doing the, using my freehand shield to come in and get some really nice hard edges, like right along there. You can do all kinds. Hair is fun, right? Because it's just cumulative. You get some really beautiful hard edges and soft edges, and keep working them back and forth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and bring in this shield again, this mask her face, and really get super deep dark, just to make those darks go further in, which I think would be really nice. Brad, have a good night. Thank you so much for the super chat, sir. And it tends to skate or spider on him on colder surfaces, Dwayne says. Great info. Thank you for that, sir. And let's see. Personal preferences, though. How thin I spray. Oh, okay, cool. So you spray thin, is that true? So, guys, thank you so much, Dwayne and everybody. Michael and Mr. Dennis and Ryan and Brad for the super chat. Colette, you guys are just super amazing. So thank you, Colette and Michael and Dennis and Brad and Dwayne and Ryan. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me and making this really fun, memorable live stream. So we're almost done. I'm going to work out the background maybe before we come back. But thank you so much for joining me on this wicked journey. I really appreciate everyone so much, and I hope to speak to everyone really soon. And thank you, Michael says, thank you for another good lesson. I really appreciate that. Thanks everyone for your feedback and your ideas and your inspiration. God bless and take care, you guys, all right? Bye.